Roscoe and Billy Bob had been hunting together for as long as they could remember. Every fall, they donned their camo, grabbed their rifles, and ventured deep into the Appalachian woods. The forest was their second home, a place of peace, friendship, and occasionally danger, but nothing they had faced before compared to what waited them on this cold, moonlit night. The duo set out just after sundown. A biting wind whispered through the trees, carrying the earthy scent of decay. The full moon bathed the forest in an eerie silver glow. Roscoe adjusted his hat and grinned at Billy Bob. "Feels like a good night for one," Roscoe said, his voice breaking the silence. "Sure does," Billy Bob replied, gripping his rifle tighter. He scanned the dense woods ahead, his flashlight flickering against the tree trunks. The two men moved quietly, their boots crunching on the frosty leaves. Hours passed and the forest seemed unusually quiet. No rustling, no distant calls of owls, just silence. Then they saw it. Deer stood in the clearing ahead, but something about it was wrong. Its body was emaciated, ribs poking through mangy fur. Its legs was unnaturally long, bent at awkward angles. The head hung low, its antlers glarg and blackened like charred wood. But it was the eyes that froze them in place, milky white as if blind yet uncomfortably aware of their presence. Billy Bob raised his rifle. "Roscoe," he whispered, "look at that thing. It's sick or something. Probably rabbit." Before Roscoe could respond, the deer snapped his head up, its jaw unhingingly far too wide. A guttural, human-like scream erupted from his throat. Both men stumbled back, their instincts screaming at them to run, but they didn't. Instead, Billy Bob fired. The shot echoed through the forest, sending a murder of crows scattering from the treetops. The deer staggered but didn't fall. It turned to face them, its movements jerky and unnatural, like a marionette controlled by an unskilled puppeteer. Then it spoke. "You shouldn't have done that." The voice was wrong. It was animalistic. It was human, deep, and guttural, like multiple people speaking in unison. Billy Bob and Roscoe froze, their breath hitching in their throats. "What the hell is that?" Billy Bob stammered. Stepping back, his hand shook as he tried to reload his rifle. "Run!" Roscoe hissed. But before they could run, the creature lunged, its body twisted mid-air, transforming as it moved, its legs elongated, its spine cracking inaudibly as it shifted. By the time it landed, it wasn't a deer anymore. The thing stood upright now, towering over them, its face a grotesque mixture of human and animal features. Flesh hung loosely from its frame, its limbs stretching impossibly long. It smiled, a lipless, horrifying grin that revealed rows of jagged teeth. Roscoe grabbed Billy Bob by the arm and yanked him backwards. They ran, crashing through the underbush, not caring about noise or direction behind them. The creature gave chase, its footsteps unnervingly light for something so large. It was playing with them. Roscoe could hear it, the way it stayed just far enough behind to let them think they had a chance. Every so often it mimicked their voices. "Roscoe! Roscoe!" it called, perfectly replicating Billy Bob's voice. "Wait for me, man! Wait for me, man!" Roscoe ignored it, pulling Billy Bob harder. "Don't listen to it! Keep running!" They stumbled into the ravine, tumbling into the icy stream. Below, Roscoe's ankle twisted as he landed, pain shooting up his leg. He scrambled his feet, dragging Billy Bob, who was gasping for air. And the thing appeared at the edge of the ravine, its body shimmered, shifting forms like a nightmare kaleidoscope. One moment it was the grotesque humanoid creature, the next it was Billy Bob grinning down at them with eyes that glowed like hot coals. "Why are you running?" it asked in Roscoe's voice, tilting his head unnaturally. "Aren't we friends?" Billy Bob raised his rifle again, but the thing laughed. The sound had echoed and multiplied, filling the ravine like a demonic choir. "Bullets won't help you," it said, stepping closer. "Nothing will." Roscoe grabbed a rock from the stream and hurled it at the creature. It hit the thing's chest, but it didn't flinch. Instead, it leaped down into the ravine, landing inches away away. The air grew thick with the stench of decay. Roscoe and Billy Bob gagged, their eyes watering as the thing leaned in. "You sing too much," it whispered, his voice oozing into their ears like venom, "and no one else will believe you." Before they could scream, it lunged. The last thing Roscoe saw was the gaping mouth filled with darkness that swallowed him whole. The next morning, the town folks found their rifles and hats near the ravine, but no sign of the men. Search parties scoured the woods for weeks, but Roscoe and Billy Bob were never seen again. Hunters in the area still speak of the Skinwalker deer, warning nearcomers to stay out the way of the woods after dark. Some say they can still hear Roscoe and Billy Bob's voice calling for help, leading the unweary deeper into the forest, straight into the waiting arms of the creature.